Hey everyone, Rhodes Perry here. So, centering. This is one of the most critical practices for us to increase our somatic awareness. And remember, somatic awareness is our ability to discern between a thought and the physical impulse behind that to help us disrupt some of those automatic reactions that we might have to those pressures coming at us and to build up the muscle memory to create a pause so that we have more agency for a choice. Do we want to do the same old behaviors and react? Sometimes we do. We're not here to shame those behaviors. We're just trying to create some more choice for maybe there's a different way to respond choicefully in that particular moment. And centering is really critical. We do it to feel ourselves and help us make more space for sensations and emotions by becoming more curious about them and less reactive. Centering also helps us feel others, build empathy for them, and be more effective in our relationships, which is critical, obviously, in the workplace and anywhere in our lives where we're interacting with other humans. And centering it, when we're purposefully centering, we can practice staying connected to what matters most to us. So the commitments that you might be working on, who you're called to be, to become more of your real selves, right? And giving yourself that permission by building up resilience and helping recenter ourselves when we're triggered or under pressure. So that's why we do it. That's for the sake of what. So what we're going to do, this practice is somewhat of a longer version. And there's a video recording as well that's attached to this it's an audio recording. So if you want something slightly shorter because you're short on time, any kind of rep on this is really helping to increase that somatic awareness. So let's begin. In centering, what we do is this is not a meditation. So our eyes will be open. And I invite you, maybe not looking at the screen, but to find something that's pleasant in the space around you. Soft gaze, above my computer screen is a nice window. There's some beautiful trees out here in the Pacific Northwest that I could see. So go ahead and find a soft gaze, meaning that you're able to take in things like the trees, but also the peripheral vision is expanded, right? So we're just trying to be with all that is here as much as we can take in. Let's take it in. So you could be seated or standing. And the most important thing, regardless of what you choose, I'm standing right now, feet firmly planted on the ground, hip width distance apart. So go ahead and just look down. Are your feet hip width distance apart? And if you're standing, this is what I'm notorious for, make sure those knees are not locked. So just kind of like get a little bit of a bounce in the knees and, like move your body in a way that it wants to move. There's no right or wrong here, but just kind of like, if you want to shake out a little bit, shake out. If you're static and you feel good about that, go ahead and do that as well. And as you arrive, I invite you to just allow, right? If you're thinking of a snow globe, right? Allow your sand to settle, allow the snow to settle and your water to become clear. So just like let kind of like all those thoughts kind of move down, into the tissues and just kind of notice what's here, right? Bring your attention to your body and your sensations. So what right now, if there was a mood, if there's one word, my word right now is like, I don't know, service. Like I want to be able to hold this space for you, right? But if there's a feeling behind that, I'm feeling grateful that you're watching this, that you're engaged, right? What's that mood? What's that word that would describe your current state right now? And notice the sensations behind that. Is there a pressure? Is there a temperature? Is there something that's calling your attention in your body? And I just want you to scan. I want you to notice that. So that's what we're just doing. Before we get into the actual practice, just notice what's here in this moment. There's no need to override it. There's no need to shift it or change it. There's no agenda here. It's literally just to be present, open, alive, and connected. And notice again, like if there's emotions that are arising right now, there's an anticipation, maybe there's a dialogue of like, okay, Rhodes, let's just do this thing. Just kind of notice what's here. And again, don't try to change it. Just be real. Be honest with yourself in this moment. And let's center now. So I invite you to maybe place a hand on your heart and another on your belly. Just go ahead and take a nice breath in. So breathing in through the heart space and a nice breath out through the belly. Again, a nice breath in through the heart space and a nice breath out through the belly. Now, I want you to center around what matters most to you. And if you're uncertain about that, just kind of feel for a feeling that matters to you. For me, gratitude is just on the mind right now. So what matters to me is, practicing gratitude, right? It's going to be different for you. So just kind of focus on that and feel for where that's at in your body. And we're going to center in 4 directions. So we first center in our length, we'll then center in our width, we'll center in our depth, and then we'll center into what matters most to us, our declaration, our commitment. So centering in length first, I want you to just settle down as you lengthen up. So feel that contrast. Feel your feet really kind of like rooting into the earth and the earth meeting you, right? Holding you up as you kind of go up to the top of your head. And just imagine if there's a string kind of gently pulling your vertebrae just apart, like a few millimeters more apart, right? And that your skeleton, right, is like a hanger, right? And that it's holding all of your muscles, right? So it's an invitation for you to allow your skeleton to do what it does, right? Nice bend in your knees, maybe wherever there might be holding. For me, there's holding in the glutes and my thighs. So just invite a breath in and send that breath out to wherever you might be holding in your muscles and just allow them to relax and hang off of the skeleton, just like clothing off of a hanger. And notice what that does for your length, right? Don't collapse in, but just like allow the skeleton to have dignity, allow the skeleton to be upright, right? And to just hold you in the ways that it's designed to do. Feel in this length, feel for the longest bones in your body. So go to maybe your femurs, maybe the bones in your arms, kind of the lower legs, your spine, right? And just notice that length, right? Notice length and feel for your dignity, right? Feel for dignity in the length. How do you wear dignity as you move through the world, right? So just feel for that and notice in this dignity in the length from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, right? Notice like the sensations that arise. Notice temperature, right? Like what are your toes, the tips of your toes feeling like compared to the tip of your nose? See if you can notice contrast. How much can you take in? How much can you notice? Is there any numbness, right? Is there something that you can't feel for? So notice what's here as we center in your length. And then we move to our width. So I want you to imagine this like unfurling like a superhero, right? Like you are here in this space, right? You are able to take up as much room as you want or as little room as you want, right? But go ahead and go to the movement that feels like the most foreign to you, right? Like if you don't take up a lot of space, go ahead and just like let your body, like if your body could take up whatever space it wanted to in public, how would you be, right? And just kind of feel for that. And as you're feeling into this width, go ahead and take a breath in through the heart space and exhale, and imagine shooting that exhale out through your fingertips, right? So breath in through the heart space and then unfurling and breath out through those fingertips. And go ahead and feel for those edges, feel for your boundaries. Where do you end and where does the space around you begin? What do you notice? What do you notice here in the centering? Right? What do you notice in the width? If you are being ironed out, your edges ironing out, what's here? What's here in this space in the body? In our width, this is our sense of belonging, right? You're almost thinking of like a hug, like you're hugging this environment that's around you, right? And you're feeling just kind of a hug within yourself. So if belonging is in your body, if you feel for that, where might that live for you? I know for me, it is definitely the heart space. So go ahead and wherever that might be, maybe place 1 or 2 hands on the spot where you can locate a sense of belonging. right? And go ahead and breathe into that space and then breathe out. And if this is a concept that's harder for you, right, have compassion, right? Go to your heart space and have some compassion for yourself in this moment and really feel for what's here without trying to change it. There's no right or wrong. So in this width, it invites us again to take up that space. It encourages others to do the same. So as we're here in community, let's take up the space we need, right? And go ahead and let the width go for a moment. And now I invite you to center in your depth, right? So we are 360-degree beings, 3D beings, right? So we have what's behind us, we have what's here right now, and we have all that's ahead of us. So almost as if you're surfing, I want you to first feel for what's at your back. And I want you to center into what's at your back. So go ahead and take a breath in and send your breath out to your shoulder blades, right? And I want you to notice maybe the fabric. If you have a shirt on, I want you to notice the fabric on your back, maybe where it's touching your shoulder blades. I want you to notice like the backs of your heels and go ahead and send a breath in through the heart. And go ahead and send that exhale down through your legs and out through the backs of your heels. And feel into the back body. How much aliveness can you notice here? Right? Maybe there is some holding. Maybe it's in the lower back, right? Maybe it's in the backs of your thighs. Just kind of notice what's here. And I want you to imagine, right? All that's at your back, all of that lived experience. I want you to imagine a younger version of yourself. Their right hand is on your right shoulder blade, their left hand is on your left shoulder blade. And if you were to lean back, right? This younger version of you is like, nope, I got you right here. You're in the present moment, right? And so I want you to feel for your younger self's hands on your shoulder blades. And I want you to take a breath in through your heart. And on the exhale, I want you to meet those hands with that exhale to the shoulder blades. And maybe as you're breathing in this way at a rhythm that feels good to you, maybe send some gratitude to that younger version of yourself for working so hard, for doing what it took to get you to this present moment, and have some compassion for that younger version of you. And feel in this depth, the safety and the support that's here in this space for you to be able to do this practice, right? And maybe a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly to really listen, like feel for those felt sensations of aliveness, feel for that heartbeat, right? Feel for maybe that stomach gurgle of digestion, and go ahead and send some gratitude to this present moment, to these organs working so hard for you to be able to show up in this present moment, to be here now, to be alive, to be open, to be grounded. Like what's possible in this space of presence? Anything is possible. So feel for that and feel that immense gratitude for how hard your body works without you asking it to do anything. It just does it. And then in this depth, I want you to feel for all that's ahead, right? So we don't know the future, right? But maybe just like an extension, right? From your right arm forward into that future, and maybe your left hand, right? Just underneath your navel. Maybe both hands there. Like feel for where intuition lives in your body, that inner knowing, right? Like we don't know the future, but your body knows what the next move is. So where do you feel that? Where does inner knowing live for you? So go ahead and take a breath in and send an exhale to that part of your body where that inner knowing lives. And then the last place where we center around what matters most to us. So this is our declaration. This is our commitment. So we've centered in our length, we found our dignity, we've centered in our width, we found our belonging, we've centered in our depth, we have found our sense of safety and trust in ourselves. So centering in our commitment, right? This allows us to shape and organize our lives around what matters most to us. So really kind of check in, what matters most to you? And does that most important thing help you ground in this present moment? Does your declaration, does your commitment ask you to rest and maybe back off a little bit more, or to be more open-hearted, right? What matters most to you? Now, if you're unsure, just maybe check in like, who do I love? What do I long for? And just let your body answer that. Your body knows, right? So really just like listen to what is arising, pressure, temperature, sensations, maybe a mood. And go ahead and let that commitment, that declaration just fill you out and fill you up. Let it inform your nervous system. And we're practicing embodying this way of being. Who are we called to be? And then to act that out, to be that, to show up in our actions, to be in an embodied state of leadership. And we close out the centering practice by just naming a mood. So in this moment, right, kind of comparing where you began and where you are now, just go ahead, like in your somatic journal or in a journal, if you don't have a somatic journal, go ahead and just write down, my mood right now is dot, dot, dot. And once you're done, you can share in the comments, like, what did this experience like bring up for you? What are you noticing in your body? How aware are you of those physical sensations? And how does that awareness now bring more choice? So we'll be building on this, in this section. So again, leave comments here. If you found it helpful, great. If you have questions about somatic awareness or how this practice can help you, particularly in discerning, how to show up, how to be, I'm very, very interested in how this has impacted you. So thank you so much. As always, thank you for growing the belonging movement. And thank you for starting from building it from the inside out. I'll see you soon.